Practice number 4 is in the books for Ohio State in spring camp, and another battle between the wide receivers and corners. That's what everyone's talking about. These are Snap Judgments. They're brought to you by Byers Auto. That's Bill Landis, Jeremy Birmingham. I'm Austin Ward. Another even battle. Nobody wanted to claim a victory walking off the field, but a lot of conversation, Bill, about something that had your interest piqued, which is the leveling of the competition and perhaps the secondary taking a slight edge over the wide receiver in those daily battles.
I mean, it would make sense that they would, right? They've got a bunch of guys back, and the receivers, aside from Emeka Ibuka, are really green, even if they're super talented. And like Brian Hartline was like, yeah, we used to run it, and now it's a little different. Doesn't mean the receivers are bad. I think it's great that the defensive back room is like back where it should be. The receivers have like been the standard for the sport in the last 5 years, and there was a time when Ohio State's defensive backs were the same. They kind of lost that, and they have to go out on the field this fall, and I think like truly earn that. But they played really well last year. It seems like they're continuing on that trajectory now, and if they're getting the better of the receivers sometimes in practice, I know I'm okay with that, because I think it makes that group of young receivers that much better, and it means that an area that was deficient for Ohio State is now back to the level that it needs to be.
Yeah. See, I don't think it's a fair competition to even bring up, because the receivers are genuinely impacted by other positions on the field, like how's the quarterback play, and that will, that a guy being late on a pass can change the way a route looks. It can change the outcome, but I think just listening today, the one thing you got is that Brian Hartline actually probably feels pretty confident in the wide receivers he has, more so than maybe we've been talking about. Like, we were like, oh, this is a big question mark all of a sudden. Who's the guys? But like, then he sits there and is like, yeah, he's like, I got Carnell. He's going to do whatever I ask him to do. We got Emeka. He can do whatever. Brandon's, he gassed him up. He didn't water him down.
Did not.
So that was.
You said drowned, not water.
Well, I know, but I figured like we could maybe, soften that up a touch.
Yeah, probably.
Make it less extreme?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he needs to drown him.
Yeah.
No. So water him down or gas him up. Either way, there's a chance for survival. You know what I mean? And that's what's important. But yeah, I mean, he seemed to be very exceptional. He seemed to be in a good mood. Like, we've talked to Hartline in the past where he's a little, melancholy. He was.
That's not the proper pronunciation.
He's putting a lot of the wrong emphasis on the syllables.
I was
lately.
watching Megamind earlier, and so now I'm thinking of the way Megamind pronounces things. Melancholy. Shul.
Oh, you're.
He seemed in a good mood, and I think that's because he knows he's got really talented group, even if they're unproven.
It's got a nice combination there. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah. Of like really talented room, but also like a room he can probably coach pretty hard because a lot of guys haven't done anything yet.
I think that's the real benefit. That's sort of the dream, right? I mean, if you're not going to have a super veteran room where you don't have to do anything, well, that can get boring. If you've got super talented, unproven guys and you can push them and unlock the next potential, that's what most of these coaches get into that line of work to do, is develop young men and help them find the next level. And Brandon Ennis continues to be at the forefront of that conversation. As you said, Berm, like Brian Hartline didn't do some of the stuff that he's done in the past with Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave, or pumping the brakes, like let them go out and do it. They don't know how to be all-around receivers yet. He's really not doing that with Brandon Ennis. I was intrigued to see how he would answer that. And he almost it sounded like it was both he and Brandon Ennis were going further. It was like, well, he is going to be the starting slot and Emeka's going to move around a lot.
I like Brandon Ennis a whole lot. Like I'm ready to be reckless with my predictions. I think for what Brandon Ennis is going to do this year. I like the kid's makeup. He's very mature. He reminds me a lot of Emeka, actually. I think with the way that he just kind of carries himself, but he's not lacking for confidence either. Like I kind of picked up on that too. It does seem like he expects to play and impact this offense in a variety of ways. One thing that I was interested about that I asked him is like his ability to carry the ball. We know he played a little bit of quarterback in high school and. Seems to have a similar skill set to Emeka, who we've seen carry the ball a little bit too. And he said last year in bowl prep that he was kind of like working behind Xavier Johnson as like the receiver / running back guy, and like actually did get some work carrying the ball. So like I don't know what that means for this coming year, but I do know that Chip Kelly, when he has a weapon like that, won't be afraid to use it. So that gets me even more excited about what Brandon can do for this team. And I know you're excited about the special teams component of that.
Did you guys glean?
Well, he was just going to cook on special teams.
I know, but he hates talking about special teams. So, did you guys?
I went to get the information that you said you wanted, Berm, which was talking to Brandon Ennis, who you are advocating as the punt returner.
I'm putting an asterisk on my bold prediction. if there's an offensive player as the punt returner, it will be Brandon Ennis.
Oh,
sure.
Because because the vibe I got today was we have Caleb Downs on this team now, and just saying, that's how I'm going to hedge that bet.
I think if it's a defensive player, it's going to be Lorenzo Styles, who feels like he's already got a good opportunity to take the kickoff return job. And I am an advocate fully of him just devoting full time to being a returner. He doesn't want to go that far because he thinks that he can help his team as a nickel or as an outside corner. And he's playing with a lot more confidence and understanding of the defense certainly than he was while transferring in from Notre Dame a year ago. But that's Brandon Ennis said he definitely wants to do it, but it doesn't. I don't know that that's the route they're going to go.
I don't know if they will either. But if there's an offensive,
you're afraid of getting hit by a softball.
I am. If there's an offensive player, I'm thinking about the audio and how bad this is going to be for people. So sorry, we thought softball.
The sound of a bat hitting a ball is one of the best sounds in the world.
Yeah, not when it's every 3 seconds. It's like a metronome on the video. We thought they were going to be on that side.
They were.
Brandon is unique, and he can do a lot of those things. And the thing that you said, like he wants to do it, that's obvious. Like he wants to be on the field whatever way he can. I got the sense in talking to and listening to Carnell Tate and Brian Hartline and Brandon Ennis, and I think that there's like a 5-man rotation developing right now, and I don't know that Jaden Ballard is one of those 5, which I think.
What's the list?
I think it's those 3, obviously Emeka, Carnell, and Brandon Ennis, and I think it's going to be Jeremiah Smith and Bryson Rogers as the 4th and 5th. And I think the deployment of that is entirely contingent on Emeka Egbuka and where he's at. If he's on the outside, then you have Brandon Ennis on the slot. If you got Emeka Egbuka in the slot or in the backfield, I think you could see a pretty regular set with Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith as the outside guys, and then doing more things. You can have Emeka Egbuka and Brandon Ennis on the field at the same time.
Do KJ Hill and Paris Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, there's way, this group, the versatility and the flexibility is way different than the receiver groups we've seen in the last few years.
Yeah. There's also a lot of flexibility and versatility on defense, and Bill, we've had a number of conversations about you can also play Sonny Styles and CJ Hicks together. What does that mean for the Ohio State defense? And then what do you have to take off the field if you do that? And I asked Tim Walton about that because the juxtaposition between, Jordan Hancock's going to play a lot, Jermaine Matthews is going to play a lot. Okay, well, they can't all play at the same time. There's not really a path to doing that.
They need to petition the NCAA to allow them to play like 14 guys on defense. If they said you can play 14 on defense, but you got to take 3 off the field on offense, could they do it? Could they do it? Yeah, I think they could.
Well, no one would ever score on Ohio State if that was the case.
That's true. I think they could get by with it.
CJ Stroud is now deciding to play softball.
He's playing softball. That's great.
He's getting ready for celebrity softball.
Texans see that. It's not a concern, right? It's just like how is it all going to work? I did find it interesting that CJ Hicks said that he and Sonny Styles are like both playing the Will and the Sam Nickel spot. So like there's some even more interchangeability there than perhaps we first realized. I don't really have a great feel for what it's going to look like. If you said like they're playing a game tomorrow, who are the first 11 defenders on the field? I don't know. I feel like I know the answer to that.
I picked up a couple things from CJ after the table session. One, he doesn't like people putting out this notion that it's him versus Sonny. Like they're best friends, they're roommates. Like he doesn't enjoy the context around that. Number 2, he did say that there has been a little bit of toying around with the jack position and him and Arvell playing the jack position.
I'm sorry, there was a softball being hit. Can you say that again?
He said
Arvell Reese was the silver bullet of the day.
He said, and I quote, Arvell has been blanking on one. So, like,
what did the blanking word begin with?
I'll let you guess, but the combination of, and we've talked about this a little bit last week, like the athleticism in that room is so much different than it was a year ago, and obviously you lose Tommy Eichenberg and Steel Chambers, you lose a lot of the reps, but what these guys have upside wise is completely different, and it is fascinating because they do seem to be intent on keeping those guys on the field together in some way. And the fact that, as you said, like they're playing in the slot nickel spot is, both of those guys are repping in that spot is an indicator of that.
So are Lorenzo Styles and Jermaine Matthews, and that was the part I went over to Tim Walton and I was like, please help me wrap my mind around this, that you have like 8 defensive backs that you want to play. Jim Knowles and James Laurinaitis are saying they've got to have CJ Hicks and Sonny Styles and Cody Simon all on the field. I don't see how this works.
Amoeba defense.
And he was like, Austin, there have been 4 practices in spring. We're not doing anything. It's base football. Don't worry about it. And I said, cool. I have to worry about it.
It's not in our nature.
That's my job. I'm here to try and figure out your football team. And he's like, we'll stop.
Yeah, I just like that is the thing about spring. It's like, well, what about this, and this? And it's like, we're just trying to like get better at our hand placement right now. You know, like it's
I'm trying to keep mine here versus my pockets. Like I don't know where to put them.
Yeah.
You were talking about the team.
Well, you too. You can.
Yeah, all of us. Like
I'm holding a pen for some reason.
We do.
It's good to hold something. I've been told.
It is
in these settings. Otherwise, you look a little antsy.
I don't think that'll fix it for you, bud.
No.
Is there anything else that you'd like to... What else did you pick up over there? You're getting all the scoop on the wall.
Obviously, I'm not suggesting that Arvell Reese is going to be the starting linebacker, but like those are the things that in spring you're like, okay, antennas up for next year. Like these are the pieces that you start to get like excited about. Like that's what you want. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't harass everyone.
Yeah. That's a good. You shouldn't be harassing
anyone. I'm just cool, like hangs by the wall, like cool guy in the cafeteria, and just like.
I asked Jermaine Matthews if he said anything. I asked Jermaine Matthews if he said anything stupid, and he said probably. That's my guy.
I actually missed that. That was the one I was looking forward to the most, and I missed all of Jermaine Matthews.
You know what was an upset is that Brandon Innes was talking about the receivers from South Florida in the room, and I guess someone asked him. I didn't hear the question, but he was talking about like who from the defensive back room most presents themselves as a South Florida guy, and I would have been like, it's Jermaine Matthews. He said Davis Igbinosun.
And Jermaine Matthews.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Well, all of the receivers who spoke today, and I listened to this, there was a lot of conversation about the matchups with the defensive backs, and they said that it's chippier than ever, and also a lot more trash talk going on. It's like, well, who's the biggest trash talker? Who's got that South Florida swagger that was coming up with Brandon Innes? And everybody said IGB is the guy.
Did you see
watch him play?
Well,
that was an obvious answer. I'm surprised.
I don't know. Denzel says a lot of things.
I'm surprised Denzel wasn't the second name they picked, but I'm not surprised that Jermaine was. And as I said, Cincinnati is the Miami of Ohio.
Jermaine was trash talking the coaches when he was here.
When he was camping. Yeah. Before he had an offer. So
we did get to the bottom of that for Bobby Carpenter, by the way, that all the people who are maybe of an older persuasion who keep thinking that they're hearing OGB, IGB is what he's called.
Yeah.
Because that's how you spell his name.
Why
I don't know why
anyone
has used OGB. That doesn't make sense.
But my guys, Zach Bourne and Bobby Carpenter, who I love, they've been harping on OGB, which is a cool nickname too, but it doesn't apply to his name.
I do have one more thing. This is a task for America.
The first Listen Up America of 2024.
Tim Walton said he does not use Twitter, so he doesn't see the goat emojis and all the other stuff that people are constantly lobbing at him now because he's recruiting like a madman. I did petition him to change his Twitter name from Coach Tim Walton to OG Walt, and he said he will do it. But I need America to make sure that they're just pounding his Twitter account with reminders until that gets done.
You just said he doesn't use it.
He said people do it for him.
Well, so why doesn't he just tell the people?
He asked Jermaine Matthews to show him how to change the name. So we need to make sure it gets done. So if you have to petition Jermaine to do it, fine. Just make sure it gets done.
And then on Instagram, he can be IG Walt.
IGB.
That's a great place to end the show.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming to Snap Judgments. They're brought to you by Byers Auto. That is Bill Landis, Jeremy Birmingham. I am Austin Ward. That's going to be the last time we're on the Woody Hayes Athletic Center until Tuesday, but we'll still have plenty of content coming your way on the podcast, and we hope to see you there. Bye-bye.